Hey everyone, welcome to the final segment of the Isles Talk Path to the Draft 2020. My name is Paul Kreischer. I am your host for this afternoon. Again, sorry guys, it's a little early. Work schedule again got me a little busy, but I'm happy to do this one tonight for you guys. Uh, we're going to go over the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. These are my professional prospects. Um, we're also going to go over the graduating draft class of 2015. And after that, well, not necessarily after that, in between that, the Islanders Facebook group, Islanders Misery, rated R. R's for Rebels. They have been asking me for months now, and I got to give them credit. They've been waiting very patiently. They want to know why Coach Thompson has not been relieved of his duties. So I'm going to go into that and a little bit more. Plus, at the end of today's show, I'm going to go through my little mock draft for everyone here. It's been done. I had posted it on Twitter. So get ready for a nice, long, good conversation about the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. And if there's enough time, we'll do another water cooler talk. We'll go over, I'll go over some of the questions that you guys may need an answer to, and we'll go from there. So, the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. This was not a good year for them, to put it simply. Not a good year. They ended up 23, 33, 5 and 2. Basically 53 points for 76 games and a winning percentage of just around 350. Not good. Not good. The prospects themselves, a little bit of a different story. It's a little bit of a different story, and overall, success is always defined differently in the American Hockey League. And we're going to go over that today as well. The top prospects right now in the Bridgeport Sound Tigers to me are still Kiefer Bellows, Oliver Wallstrom, Otto Koivula, Simon Holmstrom, and Sebastian Ajo. Those are your bread and butters, guys. And we're going to go over all of them. And we're going to find out how they impacted both the Islanders and the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. So let's first start off with Simon Holmstrom. He was one draft pick no one saw coming from Lou Lamoriello last year with their first round pick. I honestly had Simon Holmstrom down in the lower second round, upper third round, but Lou took him in the first. And it just so happened that in a lot of the preseason rankings, Simon Holmstrom was in the top 10. So, could this have been a steal? Sure. He was injured through most of his draft year, so the Islanders were pretty much finding themselves a steal, especially now at this point. So, Simon Holmstrom, 19 years old. I need to reemphasize that. 19 years old. 6'1", 183. He ended up playing 46 games, 8 goals, 7 assists for 15 points. However, the last 10 games he was playing in Bridgeport, he was lighting everything up. He had what we'll call a Bevelier moment, where Simon Holmstrom was having fun, the game was coming to him, and he was basically tearing it up towards the end of the season. And I really, really would have been fascinated to see how he was going to finish up the season. The best part with Simon Holmstrom right now is that his entry-level contract slides for another year, at least according to CapGeek. So this year, the numbers don't look good, but it's just gravy. It's just gravy. It was just a learning experience. It's a 19-year-old hockey player coming across the pond. He's never done this before. 19 years old, And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do next year. Looks like this could have been a steal, an absolute steal for Lou in that first round. I really like his stuff. He's, and I'm going to be very careful how I would compare, or at least style wise, for Simon Holmstrom. I'm going to go somewhere between a Matt Barzell in terms of puck handling skills, but he's got like a great hockey IQ of Josh Bailey. I could see Simon Holmstrom eventually replacing Josh Bailey, and I think Simon Holmstrom has a better shot. Simon Holmstrom's not afraid to shoot the puck. I don't think Simon's going to be a pass first guy. I don't think he's going to lead other defensemen on like that. So I'm expecting bigger things from Simon Holmstrom. I love the fact that he's here, but still work to be done. He's over in Europe playing right now during the COVID crisis. So the Islanders felt to get his game going, further progressing. So I like that out of Simon Holmstrom. Give him time. There's no need for him to come in. There's no need to bring him up early. Let him marinate in the minors, and I would definitely expect his numbers to improve once he comes back, because now he knows the routine. It's like a free agent on the second year of a new team. He knows the routine. He knows what he has to do. He'll be better prepared, and he's already getting used to the North American game. So I think that's going to be helpful for him, and I'm hopeful that we get to see a lot of him come this year for Bridgeport. So Simon Holmstrom's one. Otto Koivula. Otto Koivula is a 2016 fourth round draft pick. He's a centerman. He's a left winger. He loves to play center, but I believe most of the time he was over on the left wing side, at least for the Islanders. Even in Bridgeport, he does both. Great size, 6'4", 220 pounds. He's already played 105 games, 30 goals, 38 assists for 68 points. And he's a +4. Okay, he's a +4 through 105 games. It's pretty good, guys. It's pretty good. That's what you want to see. Here's the thing, now. Otto Koivula was brought up for 12 games. Didn't look out of place, but he didn't do anything either. Okay? Didn't do enough to stay with the team. He did help, along with Oliver Wallstrom, a bunch of others. He did help the Islanders get to that 17-game point streak. So he was a part of that. His numbers in Bridgeport this year were okay, but they weren't enough. It's almost like you want to give him an incomplete this year. In terms of experience, I think he gained a lot. But I think also he's been working on his overall game. And that's the thing fans need to realize about the Bridgeport Sound Tigers and the American Hockey League altogether. It's a development league. A lot of times the players will be told, don't worry about your numbers. Don't worry about the goal scoring. Work on this. And to be quite truthful, that's what happened with Otto this year. He was working on his overall game. So the numbers still look good on the long term, but we're down to one more year on an entry-level contract. And the way things are going, where's there a spot for him? I certainly think he's a call-up. At some point. And we'll see what happens from there. But again, Otto Koivula, definitely a call-up next year. I'd like to see his overall game improve. I'd like to see him get as many games into Bridgeport and even on the Islanders as much as possible. But then in terms of his future, I don't know. Would he be available in this year's draft for a draft pick? Maybe. He might be part of a package. I got to go there. I'm not saying he is, but for someone who enjoys the development from the prospects and bringing them up, I'd like to see Koivula here for another year. But for all of you armchair GMs who want to make a big trade or a package trade, um, you know, maybe Otto is in that conversation as part of the incentive to take a bad contract. Who knows? Um, my next one, Oliver Wallstrom. I'm gonna say this now. For everyone who's trying to trade Oliver Wallstrom for Patrick Laine, it's not happening. Oliver's not going anywhere. Oliver's numbers last year for Bridgeport: 50 games, 12 goals, 13 assists for 25 points. Again, not bad. First year, 20 years old, on pace for 40 points in his first year with the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. If you're going to go on an 80 game scale, he's not bad. No, it's not bad. Defensively, he needs work, and that's what Barry Trotz said when Oliver came up for the 9 games. Needs overall work. Okay? Again, he's only 20 years old. He's a power forward. He's going to be a star in the NHL, guys. He needs a little more time. I don't think he's going to need 2 years. I don't think he's going to need 3 years. I think a good full season of Bridgeport, and then he's an instant call-up after that. He could be a call-up next year. I don't know yet. But for right now, Oliver's doing his thing. His numbers were down again because the Islanders want him working on his overall game, and that includes the defensive game. So this is all on purpose. Some of these offensive numbers from some of these players in Bridgeport, they're low on purpose. As long as they work on their play without the puck, that's going to get them up to the big club sooner than later. And that's what you want to see. You want to see these guys come up, but you got to have them play the system. It's all about the system. So, again, Oliver Wallstrom is across the pond. He's doing very well so far, I believe, in the Swedish league. And can't wait to have him back. The other good thing about last year is that his contract also slides. So, according to CapGeek, he's on an entry-level contract for another 3 years. So last year, gravy. Just a learning experience for Simon Holmstrom, a learning experience for Oliver Wallstrom. And that's what you want. And he got 9 games in the National Hockey League. There's nothing wrong with that. Bring the kids up if you need to. So that would be Oliver Wallstrom. I'm going to bring in another Bridgeport Sound Tiger who really was a victim of the numbers game. Arnaud Durando. 2017 6th-round pick, left winger, 21 years of age, kind of an overager at this point. 36 games, 10 goals, 6 assists, 16 points for both the Worcester East Coast Hockey League team and the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. He had some injuries, but he also didn't get a lot of playing time with Bridgeport because of the numbers games. We'll go over that. From what I was able to see, he was doing pretty good. Again, didn't see a lot of them due to injuries and a numbers game. Too many guys in Bridgeport, and I fully expect him to be in Bridgeport, next season, or this coming season, and I think you're going to see his numbers improve as well. So, right off the bat, going over the players, I think Simon Holmstrom's numbers are going to be better, Oliver Wallstrom's numbers are going to be better, and Arnaud Durando's numbers are going to be better. Durando, to me, he's a sniper. He's a left-wing sniper. He's got a good wrist shot. I don't think there's going to be any problem with his game. He came out of the Q, so his overall defensive game is probably there. He's just been on a couple of bad teams lately. So I expect improvements from him as well. Moving up the rankings here, Kiefer Bellows. Kiefer Bellows, to me, is my number 1 prospect in Bridgeport right now. The former first-round pick in 2016 has played a total of 125 games, 34 goals, 16 assists, 50 points. And you saw him contribute to the Islanders last year. Makes you wonder if he's going to make the team or not. What direction are you going to go? Again, for those of you who have been following me for a while now, uh, unless there's a big fish that the Islanders are going after, I would use Kiefer Bellows instead. With a salary cap tight year that we're about to have, and probably over the next 2 or 3, using Kiefer, I would probably use Kiefer Bellows over Mike Hoffman. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. Kiefer Bellows over a full season can do maybe not as much, but he could definitely be a scoring threat like Mike Hoffman, and it'd be a sixth of the money. He's still on the last year of his entry level contract. On the flip side, if the Islanders needed to trade for a big fish, and they were looking at a forward, is Kiefer Bellows part of a trade package? Maybe. Not saying that he is, but he's at the point where he's certainly a call-up. He's certainly a call-up, Kiefer Bellows is right now. And he could probably be, a regular on a team like Ottawa, Detroit, maybe even San Jose. Any of those teams that are in the rebuild, New Jersey. I could see all of that happening. I don't want Kiefer Bellows going to New Jersey. I don't want him biting us in the butt later on. That would be absolutely horrible. Send him out west. Minnesota. Minnesota could probably use another inexpensive winger to get themselves out of cap trouble. So I don't want to say he's a trade chip, but he could be. He's that good at this moment, though. Him and Koivula for sure are definitely call-ups for next season. And it goes back to my original argument when I had said in my season in review show that it's time to let the younger kids come in because the older guys really weren't doing enough with the amount of money that the Islanders were spending on them. This is one of those moments. This is where I really want to see Kiefer Bellows come in and Otto Koivula. I want to see, these kids actually come up and play. Can I see Bellows having a 30-goal potential one day? I could. I don't know if he's going to do it consistently like that. He's going to be a power forward. He's going to be a power forward, and honestly, it's going to depend on his line mates. I would definitely say a solid 20-25 guy, without question. He could be more. But again, with the way Bridgeport was this year, Bridgeport was in shambles, and we're going to go over that in just a minute. Bridgeport was in fact in shambles, and it was certainly a numbers game. And let's face it, the Islanders also had injuries. And you're not supposed to take injuries into consideration, but when you're in the American Hockey League, injuries are absolutely a factor, and that's exactly what happened to the Sound Tigers this year. So yes, I do like Bellows as a possible 30-goal scorer at some point. No, I agree. I agree with that, Brush. I think Bellows is a minimum third line right now. And if somebody goes cold, you can stick Bellows up there for a little while. That's fine. You can do that. So those are your prospects right now for the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. I'm still very hopeful. There is Robin Sallow. Robin Sallow is over in Europe. 2017 second round pick, left defenseman, 6'1", 187. He's played 165 games, 13 goals, 16 assists, 49 points, but he's a -32 over in Europe. Ouch. There's nothing flashy or fancy about him. I don't see him coming over, but I'm keeping him here because he was drafted by the Islanders in 2017, and in another year or two, we might be able to let him go off this list anyway. I don't see him coming. But that's Robin Sallow. So, those are your prospects. I'm still very high on Simon Holmstrom and Oliver Wallstrom, especially when their entry-level contracts have slid up. So we have them for 3 more years. Arnaud Durando, in my honest opinion, was just a victim of the numbers game. I think his numbers are going to improve. And then you have possible trade chips in Otto Koivula and Kiefer Bellows, but I think both of them, at this point, I think they would be good enough, at least for a call-up. And I'm going to go another step here in defending Otto and Kiefer. Even on the third line, they didn't have J.G. Pageau. J.G. Pageau was not part of this team when the kids came up. So I'm very excited to see what the kids could do if they were working with J.G. Pageau. So, what's up, guys? So, those are my young prospects of the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. I'm still hopeful for all of them. I like where they're going with it. I like the direction. But again, they need work on their overall games, which is probably just a two-way game. And they'll all be, they'll all eventually be making an impact on the Islanders at some point. Now, before I get into my graduates, I had been asked, again, by the Islanders Facebook group, Islanders Misery, Rated R, and they wanted an explanation as to why Coach Thompson is still the head coach of the Bridgeport Sound Tigers when, again, the Bridgeport Sound Tigers have not made it past the first round since 2003. You heard that correct. Last time the Islanders, there I go again, the last time the Bridgeport Sound Tigers made it past the first round was 2003. We're talking Trent Hunter here, guys. Trent Hunter days. Trent Hunter, Rick DiPietro days, the beginnings of the Bridgeport Sound Tigers. Okay? It's been a long time. Now, they kind of put me on the spot, and it's rightfully so. I have always been a proponent of going deep in the American Hockey League to help further the development of the players. This year, you saw it with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Most of them were part of the Syracuse Crunch. Even some of the Dallas Stars, they were part of the Calder Cup champs of the Texas Stars just a few years ago. And if you go back and watch, or you look at history, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Washington Capitals, all of their minor league teams, they all went far in the American Hockey League playoffs before coming up. So there is a correlation of teams doing well in the American Hockey League and having it translate over to the NHL level. So let's get into why Coach Thompson is still the head coach and why I feel that Coach Thompson is going to remain coach at least for this year. Yes, I agree, Mark. So, first off, this is, again, injuries do play a role in the American Hockey League. So, there's for those of you who don't know, the regular season is a 76-game schedule. I want you to remember that number, 76. Okay? Kiefer Bellows, for better or for worse, 52 games played. Not enough. Sebastian Ajo, we'll get to him later. 49 games. Not enough. Matt Laredo, for those of you in Bridgeport, he's usually a pretty good goal scorer for you guys. 50 games. Not enough. Oliver Wallstrom, 45 games. 45. It's not going to help Bridgeport. It helped the Islanders, but it didn't help Bridgeport. Otto Koivula, 30. Did I get that right? Yeah, 36 games. 36 games for Otto Koivula. That's not going to help Bridgeport. Grant Hutton. Keep an eye on Grant Hutton, folks. He's a defenseman. Nice little signing by Lou last year. Good young defenseman, Grant Hutton. I think he's like 24, 25. Just out of Ohio University, I think. He only played in 55 games. That's not enough. Colin McDonald, 60 games, only scored 5 goals. Not enough. Simon Holmstrom, all these kids that we were playing. Okay? Simon Holmstrom, 46 games. Not enough. Andrew Ladd, 34 games. Not gonna, he did really well, for the most part while he was down there. But Mason Yops, 44 games. It's not gonna do you any good. Bobo Carpenter, 28. Ryan Bork, 49. Josh Hosang, 16 games. 16. That's what you get for not reporting. Arnold Durando, again, victim of the numbers game, 21 games. It's not going to help. David Quenneville, 18 games. He was eventually traded for Andy Green. Okay, a lot of veterans on this team that Bridgeport was kind of hoping to go all the way, and a lot of injuries. Steve Bernier, classic case. Steve Bernier. And for those of you who follow Bridgeport, you'll understand this one. Steve Bernier is usually good for 20, 25 goals a year. He's usually one of the top goal scorers for Bridgeport. He only played in 20 games this year. And he scored a whopping 2 goals. Okay? Cole Bardreau, 38 games, 2 goals. Not going to help. Even Thomas Hickey. Thomas Hickey got sent down at the beginning of the year. How many games? 14. Okay, I can keep going down here. Bodie Wild, 20 games. You guys understand. Oh, Tanner Fritz. Some of you Islander fans remember Tanner Fritz. Good 4th line guy up here. Better top 6 forward down in Bridgeport. Tanner Fritz played a whopping 4 games. No goals, no nothing. So, is it all on Coach Thompson this year? No. He was running a circus. That's what he was. He was running a circus. It's very tough to do that. Okay? Now, here's another... I'm not defending Thompson, but this is another setback that makes him look bad, but he has nothing to do with it. Back in 2016-17, folks, the Bridgeport Sound Tigers had a record of 44, 28, 3-1. 92 points in 76 games. You'd think you'd make the playoffs, right? A 600 winning percentage. What were they, 5th in the American Hockey League? 5th, give or take? They missed the playoffs. Yes, Christopher Gibson was also hurt too. Yes, the goaltending was also hurt. They missed the playoffs. 2016-17. You get a 605 winning percentage and you miss the playoffs. Why? Because the American Hockey League implemented that the top 4 teams in each division make the playoffs. They don't go top 8 in the conference. Which means the top 4 teams in that division that year were like the top 4 teams in the American Hockey League. And Bridgeport missed the playoffs because of the division that they were in. That has absolutely nothing to do with Coach Thompson. None. Same thing again in 17-18. 36, 32, 5, 3, 80 points for 76 games that normally gets you into the playoffs in the American Hockey League. They missed it because they placed 5th in the division. Okay, so 18-19, they had a great season. 43-24, 625 winning percentage, and they lost in the first round to Hershey, to which I believe Hershey went all the way to the conference finals, or did they go? They went to the Calder Cup finals, I think. They did something like that. They went very far. So, again, Hershey was a hot team. To me, that year, Hershey was turning into like the Rangers of this past season. or the Philadelphia Flyers of moving up in the standings, and it was like you just don't want to play Hershey at all, and Bridgeport ended up playing Hershey in the first round. Again, that's something out of Coach Thompson's hands. Now, having said that, the Islanders misery group still has that point, and I have to concede that. No first round beyond, nothing going beyond the first round since 2003. Oh, that's right. Hershey lost to the Checkers in the conference finals. That's right. Thank you, Brush. So yeah, we're still not here. But at the same time, here's the thing with Coach Thompson. Coach Thompson has had his influence on almost every drafted Islander, I don't know, the last 10 years? Maybe? Offensive or defensive player. He's had an influence on all of them. Okay, he's earned the respect of everybody, which is why Lou gave him that contract extension to begin with. And in all honesty, guys, if you're going to ask me if last year was a success or a failure, it depends on what kind of a fan you are. Because if you remember, yes, the Bridgeport Sound Tigers suffered. But a lot of these prospects were around for that 17-game point streak that the Islanders had in November heading into December. And they were a part of that. So if it wasn't for Bridgeport, their prospects coming in and at least filling in the role, and they did what they had to do the Islanders stay on a 17-game point streak? It's a tough call. They certainly needed the players. So, the sacrifice of the Bridgeport Sound Tigers for the Islanders' 17-game point streak, which got them into the bubble playoffs, which got them into the Eastern Conference Finals. For me, it's a successful season, in a way. The players were developed enough. Trotz gave them enough of a push, enough confidence for them to play, and they helped the organization. That's what you want. And you have to go kudos to Coach Thompson. And even when Kiefer Bellows was up with the big club, he was complimenting Coach Thompson and everyone else for getting him to where he is. Okay? Having said that, if you guys have been following my other shows on the prospects, you'll know that, yes, we're probably going to get a couple of college kids coming in fairly soon. We're also going to get guys from the juniors, Felix Bebo, Cole Koski. Those guys, they're coming into Bridgeport fairly soon too. And if the Islanders do really well in this draft, they're going to be coming up probably sooner than later. But here's the thing. These are Lou guys. These are Lou players. Okay, we're talking drafts from 2018, 19, and 20. They're all coming in now for Bridgeport. Okay, the only way I could see Coach Thompson losing his job is if Lou says, we need to go in another direction. That's it. Now, I don't know Coach Thompson's contract. I don't know how long it is. I don't want to know how long it is. He's there until Lou says we need to go in another direction. And it makes sense in this case because these are Lou's guys now coming in from the draft. Does he want Thompson to bring these kids up? Or does he want another coach to go in another direction, and go from there? And there's no denying Coach Thompson is very much responsible for the defensive play of Ryan Pulock, Devon Toews, Scott Mayfield, and Adam Pelech. Yes, Barry Trotz helps them, but Thompson has his influence on a lot of other people. who were drafted by the Islanders. So to answer the question for the Islanders misery, Islanders fan group here on Facebook, do I see them? Do I see the Islanders letting go of Coach Thompson this year, this coming season? I'm going to say no, because of the uncertainty of everything going on. We don't know how long, we don't know how short this upcoming season will be. However, if we know, if the fans know that the NHL will be starting at its regular time in September, October, and Lou wants to go in a different direction with the draft picks that he has drafted, that could be a possibility. That could be a possibility. Now is probably not the right time to do a whole big shebang change of everything else. Okay, you still have a few of Garth Snow's prospects in the system. Let them filter their way through. Maybe they make the Islanders. Maybe they're part of a trade package, so on and so forth. But for now, I think Coach Thompson needs to stay, at least for one more year. After that, maybe a change will come. I don't know. But the only reason I have for letting Thompson go is because it's now all of Lou's prospects, all of his draft picks. They are now going to be in Bridgeport at fairly soon. So it could just be a different direction that Lou wants to go in. So that's my thoughts on Coach Thompson. I want to thank the Islanders misery for being so patient with me and asking the question, because it is a fair question. And at some point, we'll see what Lou does in the minors. So moving on to the graduating class, the draft class of 2015. Very simple. I've got 4 of them. And now usually my draft class are players who are done with their entry-level contracts, if they're overagers, or 5 years after they've been drafted. So we're looking. I did Anthony Bevelier last year because he was done with his entry-level contract. So he was a graduate, and he comes out full force this year in the playoffs. He came into his own, and we're going to discuss that a little bit with Matthew Barzell. The first player I want to talk about is Parker Wilderspoon, and I'm going to throw Mitch Vanden Sobel in here as well. That's another reason why the Bridgeport Sound Tigers did not do well this year. They lost like their Pulick and Pellick version of a first line defense. Excuse me for a minute, guys. They lost their first pair, and you lose them, they were in trouble. So Parker Waterspoon, he played most of the season, but he didn't have Mitch Vanden Sobel with him. Decent numbers. I honestly thought he would be a call-up, but again, it was a numbers game. We already had Thomas Hickey down there. We had a bunch of other defensemen, and he never got the chance to play. Do I still think he has a shot as a call-up? Sure. Regular, everyday minutes with the Islanders? No. So, does Parker Waterspoon become a trade chip in a package? Maybe. Do I think Parker would clear waivers? I think he would. And, I would like to see Parker come back and cement the defense down there and be a little bit more of a leader for the younger guys like Bodie Wild coming in. Mitch Vanden Sobel, injury year. He's like a 3-time All-Star at this point. Good puck-moving defenseman. I've always thought of him as a Thomas Hickey type player. Injured all season long. Do I still think he's got a shot at the NHL? I do. But I think he's going to clear waivers as well. Again, he's going to be a steady influence for some of these other puck-moving defensemen like Bodie Wild. I think both of them will be great mentors for Bodie Wild as well, who's going to be in there. But, I think they're both going to clear waivers, or they could be part of trade chips. Again, salary cap move. I could see that happening. Sebastian Ajo. Sebastian Ajo is done with his entry-level contract, but he's an overager. Okay, if we were going to talk about where he should have been drafted according to his age, it should have been 2014. Sebastian Ajo, believe it or not, does have some interest around the NHL. Okay, could he be part of, again, a trade chip? He could. He could. Will it happen? I don't know. I don't know. Really good numbers for him. Again, numbers wise, ended up playing 161 games, 21 goals, 86 assists for 107 points. Guys, that's not bad. And Garth got him again as an overager, so he should have been able to put up those numbers. But again, over almost 2 seasons, he's averaging close to 10 goals, 40 assists for 50 points. That's not bad. There is some trade value for Sebastian Ajo. So, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. I don't think Sebastian Ajo will clear waivers. I think someone would pluck him up. So unless Sebastian Ajo is going to be a seventh defenseman on this team, I think Grant Hutton might make a stronger case for that. But we'll see what happens. But could Ajo be a trade chip? I think so at this point. So, all right, guys. I did my mock draft already. It's been done, and again, it's kind of it's sort of like a wish list. It's a wish list again. The Islanders have picks. I'm sorry, rounds 3 through 7 as of right now. So I'm just gonna have some fun with this. I'm gonna post it on Facebook probably tomorrow with all of my picks. If the Islanders somehow got back into the first round, not likely, but if they got into the first round, I would love for the Islanders to pick up someone like Maverick Bourque, centerman, Brendan Brisson, another centerman, or Helge Grans, Swedish defenseman. In a nutshell, Maverick Bourque kind of reminds me like a center's version to Jason Blake. He'll rack up those goals. Brendan Brisson, Casey Cizikas with a bigger scoring touch. Look at Casey Cizikas with his 20 goals. That could be Brendan Brisson much earlier on. I like that out of him. Helge Grans. Do I dare say Kenny Johnson? That's who Helge Grans reminds me of. If some way, somehow, the Islanders were to pick up a second round pick, which is probably a little more likely in the second round than the first, I still would love to see the Islanders pick up center Dylan Peterson, who is your Brock Nelson. Basically a Brock Nelson. Ty Simulanik, centerman, again reminds me of a shooting first Josh Bailey, but he still plays center. Jan Kuznetsov out of the University of Yukon. And if I had to tell you a style, I'm going to go Zdeno Chara. And then I'm going to go strictly with my third round picks here right now. I think the Islanders would go with, in the third round, Casper Putillo. He's a right-handed defenseman, and he reminds me of Devontae's. That's something that the Islanders desperately need, is another puck-moving defenseman. In the fourth round, I'm going Grant Slokinski, centerman at a Warward High School in Minnesota. Think LaFontaine, guys. LaFontaine, Matt Barzal. he could be a real. That's my sneaky pick of this year. That could be a steal, depending on his development. He's already committed to Northern Michigan. My 5th round pick. Some of you may remember the last name. Oliver Tarnstrom. Oliver Tarnstrom is the son of former Islanders defenseman Dick Tarnstrom. And Dick Tarnstrom played for the Islanders, I believe, in 2000 and 2001. And he ended up having a very steady career with Pittsburgh for a few years. He ended up having much better numbers. And this is his son. He's a centerman out of the Swedish Hockey League. And I got to tell you, Tarnstrom reminds me of Anthony Bevelier. Younger kids too. These are all kids. These are all sneaky picks from rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7. These are all sneaky picks. They are all moved up lately. My 6th round pick, I am actually going with Oliver Okuliar. He's a left winger out of Lethbridge of the Western Hockey League. He's an overager, but he reminds me of Michael Grabner. Okay? The Islanders could use a left winger like that. And then my 7th round pick is another overager. I believe it was Luke Toporowski, left winger, 5'11" out of Spokane, Western Hockey League. Good overall numbers by these, overagers in the 6th and 7th round. So what I'm trying to do here with this draft in my theme is that my hope is that the Islanders get themselves a puck-moving defenseman, a low risk, high reward, possible top 6 centerman, maybe more. Another good forward, preferably another centerman. And then 6th and 7th rounders are just overagers to replenish Bridgeport, because let's face it, we still have a couple of kids in college that are not yet ready, and we need to get Bridgeport younger. But 20 years of age is a good young age. I don't want, 18, 19, 20, wait another 2 years for Bridgeport to start winning, and so on and so forth. There are a couple of goalies. I did not bring up Linus Soderstrom. I didn't bring him up yet. He's still a restricted free agent. He's doing so far so good over in Europe. He's only played a game. I don't know where the Islanders really stand with him yet. There are 2 goalies that I was looking at, maybe for the 4th round. Maybe you can get him in the 5th round. Will Cranley, 6'3", 183 pounds, out of the Ottawa 67s for the out of the Ontario Hockey League. He reminds me of a style similar to Luongo. Kaye Klang, 6'2", 177, out of the Swedish Hockey League. He's got a style that reminds me of Tommy Sallow. And late in the 6th round, this could still happen. Late 6th round pick, Mac Guzda, 6'4", 202 pounds, out of Owen Sound. He's got that Anders Nilsson type built style, can move around. Yeah, that's true. There's no such thing as a good goal. Not enough good goalies. So if Lou can grab any one of those 3 goalies instead of maybe one of the overagers, I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. But Cranley and Klang, they're projected to go no less than the 4th round. And I don't know. We have to see how the draft is going to go. Let's put it this way real quick, guys, about the draft. I've been told that, especially in the first 2 rounds, you could go best player available. And that's it. They're going to help you at some point. I've even heard that you can go down as far as the 3rd round and go best player available. But this draft is so deep that the teams now, and because we're in a salary cap tight era, they're going to find each team is going to find really good players to fit their system, and they're just going to grow them. So I don't know where any of these guys are going to land. And I'm not going to lie to you. I think after number one, after Lafreniere, I don't know where anybody's going to go. I really don't. I don't know where any of these guys are going to go, which is why it's going to be very fun to watch on Tuesday. I am going to say this now. Watch out for Arizona. Watch out for Detroit. Detroit's up to no good. New Jersey's up to no good. Arizona's up to no good. But watching this draft on Tuesday, watch out for Detroit. I don't trust Yzerman, and I'll be watching Detroit. So, guys, that's it. Those are the prospects for the New York Islanders. Your juniors, your college, and your professionals. I really do like this draft. If Lou finds himself anywhere in the second round, I don't care who he gets, because that's just going to be a solid pickup. And if he can still draft 3 through 7, and he can stick with the theme that I'm hoping I created here, guys, the Islanders are going to be set for a very long time. So again, am I expecting a lot of trades? I'm not going to lie. I'm expecting trades to happen even beyond the draft. I think if free agency is October 9th, I think you could still see trades all the way through October 8th. Islanders specifically, you would think the Islanders are going to make a trade to save cap room. Okay, it's there, but Lou's not going to trade out of weakness. I've said this before. He's not going to trade out of weakness. He's going to be trading out of his strength. So having Nick Leddy on the bottom pair right now is a strength. So I think Lou should wait to see what kind of offers other teams are going to make for Nick Leddy if Lou wants to trade him. And you go from there. Does Andy Green want to be a 7th defenseman? Okay. If not, what do you want to do? So there's a lot of things going on. What we are going to do over in Isles Talk, go on to the YouTube channel, type in Isles Talk, and I am actually going to go live on YouTube, and we're going to watch the draft on Tuesday, and then we're going to do the draft on Wednesday. We're going to be here on YouTube both days. I'll be taking questions. We'll just be hanging out. We're going to be chatting. You guys can go into the chat room. We'll talk draft all day. We can talk Islanders. We can, water cooler talks. I'm bringing lunches of some kind. On Wednesday, we're all hanging out. So come one, come all. I hope you guys can join me then. As far as the Facebook Lives and the Periscopes and Twitter, I will probably do post-draft reactions, and I'll do that here on the shows here for you guys on Facebook. So come join me on YouTube and on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then come join me again for the post-draft here on Facebook and Periscope and Twitter and whatnot. So listen, I got about 6 minutes to go here. Give or take, I can extend it a little bit further. Water cooler talk time. Armchair GMs, have at it. I don't care. Let's talk about it. Conspiracy theories, let's have some fun. Any questions, comments, concerns? Any questions on the prospects? Martin and Grice negotiation right for picks. Probably not Martin. Thomas Grice? Maybe. That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. The boy's going to get paid. I would certainly take a 6-rounder. A 6-rounder. I did leave other players off the board here, guys. I've got at least 3 players in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round. And I've got at least 4 other names in the 4th round. And forget about my 3rd round. I've got like 7 of them on there. So, yeah, Thomas Grice for a 6-rounder. I'll take it. Any chance they could get a 1st-rounder for Leddy? I'm going to say no. No. And for those of you who have been following me, I am still standing by what I said before after the trade deadline. I did not like the idea of J.G. Pajot for a first and a second round in this draft. I'm still standing by that. However, because the Islanders went to the Eastern Conference Finals, that draft pick went a little bit lower. If the Islanders were to get a second rounder, let's just call it out there, a second rounder for Letty, that balances out that that JG Pajot trade ever so slightly. Okay? He's here for 7 years. That's wonderful. He'll make that up. But the talent in that first round is real. Okay? You can draft second line centers all the way through the second round for the most part. So for me and for anyone who follows the draft, they will tell you that was a very steep price for JG Pajot. So, first rounder for Letty, I don't think so. Now, for those of you who really want to trade Nick Letty, let me help you out with let me help you out with the armchair GMing here. Again, if I think Letty's cap is about 5.5, okay? However, he is to be paid $6 million this year and $7 million next year. It's a little expensive. Okay? I don't think you're going to see a small market team who's being told they can't have fans in the stands taking on a shot with someone like Letty, who's going to be that expensive. Okay? Don't worry about the small market teams. If you're worried about trading Nick Letty, I would look at LA, maybe Montreal, maybe Boston, maybe Chicago. Look for a bigger market team who needs a top 4 defenseman. You guys can have as much fun as you want with that. If I'm throwing a dart, I'm probably going to see what LA would want. Okay? LA, Chicago, and if the Oliver Ekman-Larsson deal doesn't work with Boston, see if Boston would take Nick Letty. Why not? Minnesota, to a degree. You know what? Minnesota's a hot mess right now. Minnesota really is a hot mess. I don't know what Bill Guerin's going to be doing over there. They obviously he's got moves. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Nick Letty for Zach Parise. I don't know. Here's the thing, guys. If you're going to trade Nick Letty to a small market team, it's got to be a hockey move. Got to be a hockey move. Money for money. You're going to see a lot of actual hockey trades coming, should be now. Now all the way through October 8th for the next 5 days. It should be exciting. But you got to see hockey trades. Money for money now. This cap's not going anywhere. Probably for 3 years. They said 2. Might be 3. We have to see. Mark, does Lou go back to that Lad Parise deal? Maybe. If Lou's got a bunch of contingency plans, that might be plan C, plan D. And I say that because that's a move that could have been done by now. Like that's a done deal. Parise will say yes, Lad will say yes, done. Right? So just a gut feeling. I think that's like plan C or D. Lad to Parise would work. Yeah, it would work. It would work. And Parise on a third line with JG Pajot, there's something nice about that. Again, Parise's contract this year, he's getting paid $8 million. He's getting paid $8 million. That's a lot. However, next year, it's $5 million, then 2, then 1, then 1. I think it's something like that. This is like the last year that Parise's contract is expensive. After that, it goes down. So I haven't looked at his contract lately. So if Parise's contract, I believe, is at 7.5. Next year, it's at 5. then 2, and then 1. So, he becomes much more affordable. Lad on the LTIR, that's another possibility. I don't know how that works. I don't know how that works. Are his knees that bad that, they got to put him on the LTIR? Maybe. And you can still send down Hickey, Ladd, and Boychuk and save yourselves $3 million. You can do that. Get you up to $12 million. And I'll tell you right now, guys, I am not worried about an offer sheet to Matt Barzal. I'm not. Just because Matt Barzal will be offered a sheet, let's say he does. Let's have fun. Conspiracy theory here. Nothing true to this. Let's say he gets offered. Matthew Barzal has the right to say no. Matthew Barzal has the right to say no to a contract. Guys, he just went to the Eastern Conference Finals. There's a brotherhood in there. They all kind of grew up with each other there. He knows what he's got. He's got Belmont coming. He's in a brand new spanking arena. He's in the state-of-the-art practice facility. He's got some of the best golf courses in the world where he's living right now. Guys, just because he gets offered a contract doesn't mean he's going. He's going to work with Lou. Lou's going to work with Barzal. And I think the same could be said for Taze and Pulock. Taze and Pulock, by the way, have arbitration rights. So we'll go from there. I'm not concerned as much as I was with Tavares. Tavares just pulled the rug from underneath us. I think Barzal gets signed. That's just my opinion. And it's, Barzal wants to be here. Especially after what just happened. Oh, and speaking of the graduates with Matthew Barzal, he is still my prospect. He was still my prospect this year because, in all honesty, if he infuriated you with his play, guess what? He was a prospect. How many times did you tell him to shoot the puck? How many times did you tell him, stop holding on to the puck? All basic stuff that we're used to telling him. Guess what? He's a prospect. Not anymore. And don't hand me this, he's an all-star. That's just crap. Voting someone in to do 3-on-3 hockey and a fastest skater? No, forget that. That's done and over with. Okay? No. What you're going to see out from Matthew Barzal next year, very simple. You're going to let the game come to him. I think the Islanders are going to bring in some help for him. And then you're going to see him have an Anthony Bevelier moment where he just breaks out and he's having fun. Okay? And he's going to have a lot of fun. So are the Islanders, and so are the Islander fans. I think his numbers are going to go up as well. Okay? Matt Martin resigns. Great question. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to have fun with that, and I'm going to say yes. I don't think it's not so much with the playoffs, but I think you still need that fourth line. I think you do. Especially if it's a short season. Let's be honest. If it's a short season again, the Islanders are still going to be favored to go to the Eastern Conference Finals again. You need that fourth line, right? We don't know how long the season is going to be yet. We don't know what the hell's going on. So, Martin re-signing kind of makes sense to me. But again, the next 5 days are going to be phenomenal. I can't wait to see what happens. You guys are going to be pulling your hair out. At least Rainey from his sides. But, Brush is going to pull on his beard and whatnot. But, I can't wait to see you guys all clamor up in misery and yelling at each other. Oh, he did this, he did that. You're all a bunch of drama queens. I just enjoy watching it. So, any other questions, comments, concerns? Let's do it. None? Beautiful. All right. Well, guys, this has been a great show. Thanks for coming on. It's been a lot of fun. Don't forget, um, follow me on Twitter at P_Kreischer. Follow Isles Talk on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. For those of you on the YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. Join me on Join me on YouTube Tuesday, probably around, if the draft starts at 7, we're going to get started around 6:45, and we're going to watch the first round together, and we're going to go, chat about the draft. We'll talk about the Islanders, whatever you guys want. It's your show that day. And then on Wednesday, I believe the draft starts at 11:30. We'll come on at 11. I'm not doing anything. I'm both off. I'm off both those days. So let's enjoy the draft together, and let's talk hockey. So come on in, YouTube. Follow me, Isles Talk. Go in there, subscribe, and you'll get all the announcements when we're going to be live and everything else. So bye, guys. Enjoy. Let's go Islanders. And we'll see you guys on Tuesday. Take care.